Hey guys, this is Poets by Jamie Little to Little, and I'm here for a tutorial video. I had a request to show how I made this Gatefold journal using the Tonic Index die. So you can see it's laminated, and you have your cover here. And the fun thing about this is it could go this way, or you can put the cover that way. Either way, okay? And on this side, you will see a pocket. And you see a set of journaling pieces, and on this side a set of journaling pieces, and then you have your back here. So there are little pieces of paper, fold-ins, pull-outs, just a die here, an envelope with some tags in it, some paper for writing, more envelopes and tags. I used the Can Company paper, and so you can see that, and then you can go over here and have another journal basically inside. Now, I did put in 2 straps over here, so you can have 2 booklets, and over here you can have 2 booklets. So then you can close it up whichever way you want to, and have your little elastic. Oh yeah! So I'm going to show you how to make this. First off, what supplies are we going to need? You're going to need some glue. I prefer wet glue, so I'm using this Tonic Craft Glue. You need whichever stretchy cord you want to use. I have this thin one. I have a black and a white one as well that are thicker. These I got from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using these because they have the color that I want versus the thicker that was black. You'll want some corner rounders. You'll want your Remy Keeper hole punch. If you don't have that, you could use an awl or some sort of thing. We're also going to use the envelope punch board. If you don't have this, you can use any envelopes that will fit, ready-made, whatever. You can use any tutorial to find out how to make an envelope if you don't have the punch board. If you don't have that punch board, I recommend getting it. It is awesome. All right, now, here's the actual die set from Tonic. It is this, the Oxford Index Box set. And I love this. I've made several of these as the actual box, and so we're going to use this to make our Gatefold junk journal. It also has these 2 pieces that you can coordinate with it and use as inside pieces as well. There's a third one, but I don't have that third one. So I'll put that over here quick out the way. Now I've gone ahead and cut the pieces, so you'll need several pieces of paper, and I use the Rhapsody paper. And I used up almost the whole pad. You will have some scraps left over which you can make into tags or use on different projects. All right, so let's get started. You have this die set, and I'm going to turn it over so you can see the actual pieces that you have here. You do need a large format cutting machine. First off, you need to cut 2 of this outside die. This is what would normally create the box. So I'll move this over here for you. Now, I've already cut the pieces, and there's some tips that I want to give you. First, when you put your paper, your die on your paper, you do not need this section here, okay? So you can cut your paper small enough so you're not wasting that extra little bit, and then you're going to cut your piece. You don't want to cut 2 of these. Now, to create this journal, you have to be careful of direction. So this is going to be my left-hand side, and then I'll have a right-hand side. So in order to make it correctly, you'll want to make sure that you have the top of your design here, here's the bottom, okay, and that the direction goes the right way, because when you cut it out, you'll get this, and here's the front, so you don't want anything upside down, okay? Then you cut that and fold it. Then you're going to cut your second piece. Now, because my second piece doesn't have a direction, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to cut it, match the die, doesn't matter because it doesn't have a direction, okay? So you need 2 of those. Right now, the next thing you'll want to do is go ahead and put these together. So you have to decide what you want to go on the front. So I've already done this pattern over here. Then with the back pieces, you have a choice. You can either glue this way or this way. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down so that my pattern paper here is on the back. That'll be the piece that you see. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, and you don't have to go overboard because you're going to laminate this. All you have to do then is find your score line. Don't go over it, just go up to it. Line your piece up. And when you've got it lined up, just push it down. Okay? Now, if you are going to laminate yours, then you will need 2 pieces of a laminating because this is too long for one, unless you have like a 12 by 12 laminating. Okay? So this is what you have now. That's your back. Here's your front. And as you can see, you can go flap or whatever. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the detail on the inside. I don't want anything on the outside here like I did in the previous one, but I want it on the insides. So I took these two dies. I'll just pull those out for you. It's really a simple process. So here is the die that is the layer to this. Okay. So I've cut out 3 black ones. Actually, I cut out 4. I cut out 4 black ones. Like that. Okay. You have that there. That's your outline. Then I wanted to have a layer on top, so you have to use this die in the blue, and then go ahead and put in your detail die. And so when you do both of those, you'll get this piece. Okay. Here's again, you have to make sure that you do pay attention to your directions. So since mine is all plain, it doesn't matter. But I want this center piece here to go like that. So I have to make sure that my pattern would be this way. Over here, I would have to do it this way. So you always have to pay attention to your directions. Okay. So your directional paper. If I were you, I would probably do a non-directional pattern the first time just so you can see what's going on. Okay. Or do it out of cards, you know, just plain white cardstock, and then you can write notes. All right. So we have that. What I want to do now is take one of those because I want a different pocket from here, and I cut off almost 1 inch so I can have a different pocket there. Okay, so we're just gonna glue that on. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. Ugh. And you just go ahead and glue this down. Remember, just like a pocket, don't glue the part that you want to actually be open. And I'm going to scoot it a little closer to the edge than I normally would, because you don't have a lot of room on these little flats. Okay, so that side's done. Then we're going to go over here. Over here, I wanted to have this layer down, and then I want to have this on top. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this whole piece down. Like that. And you can do whatever you want as far as designing how you want your piece to look. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this blue on here. Okay. These are fun to make. I have an obsession with journals and planners, and well, just recently planners, but journals and notebooks and all that kind of stuff. So it's ridiculous. So I'm going to go ahead and layer this up. Get it all even. Yeah, my glue dries clear, so it doesn't really matter. And I'm gonna rub this down. I just find using a piece of napkin or so forth makes it easier. All right, so now I have this layer. Now what I want to do is to create a pocket. It's really hot here today, and this glue is drying quickly. So I want to create a pocket halfway up. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead, take my trimmer, and cut this where I want. So I want a little few bits above, right there. So I'm going to take that, move it over, and then I'm going to glue it down. Okay, just on the edges like you do any other tag or pocket, I should say. So I'm going to put that on there like that, and then that'll create a pocket up here. Now, here's another little tip. When you're doing this, you have to be careful about how many layers of paper you're going to put on your piece, because the laminating tends to want to pull away if you put too many layers. Same thing as if you put too many creases in it. Doesn't always want to do what it's supposed to do. Okay, so we have that in there. Now, I have the centerpiece, and what you'll like, here's your piece there, here's your piece there, so you've got your spine. So we're working in this area right here. If it helps you, you can just fold this back a little bit so you can see where you're working. All right, so this is where I want this pocket to go. All right, okay. And so I'm just going to take, now I don't know if this is, we're venturing off into new lands here. I don't know if this is going to work with the lamination or not, but we shall see. I want to kind of do a fold so that it's a pocket that has a a little more depth to it. So we shall see. So I kind of want to go here. And I'm basically looking about there. So I'm just going to score that. Put it back on. And then I need to score around this one. So I'm just going to make a dot here. There's some little dots, pin dots there. So if you look at those, you can pretty much tell where you want to go, which is fabulous. So let's see if I can put this on there. And it may not make a difference with the lamination. I don't know. It might make it. So we shall see what happens. If it doesn't work, no big deal. Right? No big deal. Just do what you got to do. Okay. So we can see what that will do. Now, I'm just going to take that and I'm going to glue that down on my pocket. I want to make sure I got it up the right way. So I'm just going to glue that down. And we shall see. It might just make it really flat and it might not. So I'm just going to put that there. Put that down for a little bit. Okay, so now, once I put all this back, you basically have the basic part of your book done, right? So there's a few things we need to do. We need to take our crocodile and we need to decide how far down we're going to go. And I don't want to go down that far, so let's adjust our crocodile here. Just fiddle with that to see how far down you want to go to make your holes in the center. I made them a little farther down than I wanted to the last time, so okay. Still farther down. All right, that's about good. And then we want to punch 2 holes. Try to get them relatively the same. And then we want to put 2 in this one. 1 on this piece, and then 1 down here. And you want to do this before you laminate it. Okay, so before you laminate it, have all your creases in, put all your holes. Okay, now right here in the center is where I would put the other one. And I'm just going to eyeball it and put a little dot there. Okay, so now everything is basically set up. Okay, there's your basic box, basic piece. All right, the next thing I want to show you how to do are the envelopes. So in that first one, I made envelopes. So I'll show you this one. Okay, so I made this envelope. There you go. So this envelope, using my envelope punch board, and then I'm just going to score it in half. So you'll have pockets over here, and then you have pockets on this side. So I'm going to show you how to do that. First off, I did by cutting a 10 by 10 piece of paper. Then on your scoreboard or your punch board, you should go to 4 3/4. So you line that up at 4 3/4. Punch. Go to the other side, 4 3/4 and punch, and score. And then you're going to join those score lines. Punch, score, so forth. So when you're done, you have your piece that looks like this. Okay. Now I'm just going to fold up all the score lines. And you decide which one you want on the inside, on the outside. I want the blue on the outside. So then we're just going to come in like this. Get it all squished down. There you go. And before I glue it down, I'm just going to take this little piece and cut across. Right? So you have that. Then you're going to go ahead and glue that down. So come in here. And come on this side and glue. Roll that up. Give it a minute to set up. And then you'll have that envelope. But now you need to do something with this. So I'm just going to fold it back so I get a better crease. Take my trimmer once again, and you're going to cut that off. So line that up and cut that flap off. Okay, so we've got this in the front, and you're going to do it to the back. Now, I want the other color to show on this side, so I'm just going to fold it in half. Excuse me. And I'm not going to worry about using a scoreboard for this because you actually want it in half, and your scoreboard isn't always perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. Go the other way. And now I'm going to put a little bit of glue here and then on the flaps. So put a little glue here, a little bit down the center, on the flaps, across the bottom. Okay. Now you want to make sure you get this right. So here on the other side, this is the top of your envelope. Turn it over because you want this to go on the bottom. So put that one there. I mean, you could move it up higher, lower, whatever. But I want it on the other side towards the bottom. Right? So just let that set up. And then you have, when it dries, a pocket there, and you have that front pocket. And it's big enough so that when you fold it in half, it'll fit in your book. Okay? Now, the other thing I want to discuss is the page, inside page. Okay, so the distance between this distance here is about 6 5/8. So I've cut my inside pages and folders to be 6 1/2 or just slightly, actually I went 6 1/4, so 6 1/4, okay? So when I made this folder, you can see that's how it goes. I cut it at 9 this way. I cut it 8 1/2 this way, okay? Because the distance between here and here is more than 4 1/2. I think it's 4 5/8, okay? So you want it to be a little shorter. So 8 1/2, okay? So 8 1/2 by 9, folded it in half, and then here I scored at 2 1/2. So that gives you 6 1/2 here. Put that in there, right? So that would be your folder. And then all you have to do is glue on the edge, glue on this edge, and put that up. And of course you're gonna give it a minute to dry and so forth, and do that. So that'll become one of your folders. The other thing is your pages on the inside. So I cut them 6 1/4 this way, 4 1/4 this way, out of an 8 1/2 by 11 piece of paper, just regular copy paper, okay? Which then leaves this piece up here, and I just fold that and use it as well, because I don't make all my pages the same size. Use my corner rounder, there you go. Now, when we start layering all this up, this is the other hint that I give. So you will notice that that starts to stick out. The more you put in there, the more it sticks out. So what I would do is go ahead, stick all my pages in there, get them organized the way I want, and then go back to my trimmer, cut it off, okay, and then adjust. All right, so that is basically how you do your pages in your cover, okay? The last thing I need to show you how to do is your elastics. I want to choose colors that go with my mindset. Right? I want to choose the ones that go with mindset here. So, I could do this bright one, but I'm liking this blue. Surprise, surprise. If everybody knows me, they know. Let's see. We could also do this purple. Let's do the purple. I have more of that. Okay. As I'm going along, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask those too in the comments. All right, so I'm going to take this purple, try to get it off here. All right, now I'm going to show you how I measure the distance. Other people may do it differently. So I know I want at least 2 streams, so I have a little bit extra here. I have 1 here. I'm not stretching it. I have 1, 2, and I'm going to go 3. And notice I wasn't really strict on that 3. Okay. Then I'm going to do it again because I need some on the other side of the gate. Now, if you wanted to, you could change colors. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So I've got 2 pieces for that. Now I am going to use my thicker black cord to go around the whole book. So that I'm just going to kind of stretch, and that'll be about enough. So that's all you have to do for that section. Now obviously you don't want to put your cords or anything in like that until you have it laminated, okay? All right, so the next thing I want to do is, I'm not going to take your time to go ahead and, cut all this off, but I do want to show you what you need to do next. Okay, so we have these pockets, right? Now this one was just, this line here is where we're going to have our pocket. We have this line here and then this line here. Right now it's one piece. So what we need to do is go back through, and we need to gently, through just the layer of lamination, cut that. Okay, and you can try to get your craft knife under there as well. Okay, so you see that? So now our pocket is free. So we're just gonna go right over to that line there. So now we have a little pocket. Okay, so now as you can see, I've done all the trimming. I ran it back through my laminator. I punched all the holes back in, okay, which is why you want to do it before it's laminated, so you have everything ready to go. And it also makes going through it easier for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but it does. Okay, so there's my basic construction for the outside, which is like the box. Okay, I've done one side of this already. I'm going to go ahead and put in this centerpiece, which is going to close the whole book. So you're going to go from the outside to the inside. And you can add like a button there. You could do all kinds of things. Add a bead. If you have something like a button, but not necessarily a button with a hole there, you can add it in. Just lots of options. Just whatever you like. I was trying to see if I had a button. Just whatever you like or are interested in, you could do that here. Okay, so you're gonna put this in here. You're gonna tie a knot. Right. Tie your little knot. Okay. Tie it again. Okay, and then you're gonna pull it, and then you have your string to go around. There you go. All right, so that's that piece. Now we have to actually string the pages. So I'm just gonna come from the back, go into this hole, and remember I did it so I'd have 3 rounds. So I'm just gonna come in here, leave this tail, hold it in. Then from the bottom, I'm gonna come in through this hole from the back, kind of pull it, go back through this hole. Now if you wanted to, you could do 2 holes and string it, but 1 is enough. 1 is really enough because this book isn't that wide. So now you have this piece here, so I'm just gonna pull it a little more. And if this knot just gets in the way, just move it. Okay? Then I'm gonna go back through this hole from the other side. So now I have strings on the back, strings on the front. Well, I only have 1 band, so I need to make it go back through. Same hole at the top. Pull it. And if you need to, you can adjust. Like I need to adjust those a little bit. Then I need to get it back through this bottom hole. All right. Okay. Now, because I'm tying my knot on this side, I'm not going to move that out the way. So now I'm just going to go ahead, because both of my strings are here now, tie these in a knot. Put that in a knot. Do it again. And because these are so little, I just do it one more time. Because I'm like that. And you can hold it and pull on one end, hold the other, and pull on the other end. It should be fine. So then you now have your strands in here. So you could technically put 3 books on here if they were really thin. I wouldn't put very thick ones because you don't want it to go past that. And then you could put 3 over here. Then you have your closure. Right? So press that down a little more. Crease. So there's that. And then all you have left to do is put in your extras.